What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Bronx and Big Blue Breakdown. I'm your host, Brady Heslin, and it's pretty crazy that we are already on episode 10 of this podcast, but we have a very, very interesting game to break down in this episode. So I know I said in the last one that I might go into some, Yankees off-season stuff. I'm not going to do that in this episode. After seeing the Giants game yesterday, I think we really need to focus on that in this episode. And next week, I think I will hop into some Yankees off-season stuff. I mean, the MLB season is still going on, so we have some time with that. And I really want to make sure that I have, good research and that kind of thing in order to do that. So the only Yankee stuff will be I have a This Week in History for the Yankees, and that is it. But yeah, so let's get to the Giants. So as you guys know, the Giants lost another heartbreaker of a game. 33-32, they lost to the Denver Broncos. And this game, it meant a little bit more because if you guys didn't see, there was a lot of trash talk going on X between Giants players and Broncos players and Giants fans and Broncos fans. It all started with Jonathan Cooper's comments on Jackson Dart. And then Abdul Carter got involved, Kevon Thibodeau got involved, Nick Bonito said that Giants fans were delusional and then deleted the tweet. So it was just like a random rivalry that kind of, came about over the past week, and it kind of just, made the game feel a little bit more important. But, we got to just get into it. So I was absolutely fuming after this game. I am kind of glad that I didn't record yesterday. I'm just going to record my normal time on Monday, because I was considering recording yesterday because of how the game went. But, I mean, it was just an unbelievable choke, an absolutely unbelievable choke. I saw a stat on X, and it was teams that were up 18 or more going to the fourth quarter had won the last 1,602 games. So they're 1,602-0. They are now 1,602-1 because the Giants lost the game. They were up 19-0 going into the fourth quarter. I was already in the mindset, like, when was the last time we shut out a team? Like, that was thoughts going through my head. Like, when was the last time we shut out a team? Because the Broncos looked lost on offense. The Giants were dominating. I wouldn't say dominating, but they were dominating the game. The offense, 19 points. They got a touchdown in every quarter. And if you would have told me Giants up 19 and they scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter and they still lost, I'm like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And when there were 10 minutes left, and I was already getting ready to get back at these Broncos fans because it was 26-8. Just embarrassing. So let's get into it. Let's just, hit the elephant in the room. Jude Micotomney. I posted yesterday, about Micotomney, but, he's easy to blame. He's the kicker. He missed the 2 extra points. The reality of the situation, though, is he never should have been in that spot. He's not a good kicker. It's great the NFL has the pathway program, and it should be utilized. And I think, using a kicker, using it on a kicker isn't a bad idea. But, I mean, this guy wasn't even the starting kicker at Rutgers. He was 60-some% at Rutgers and got benched for his senior year. And the fact that the Giants went into this game with a kicker who they did not trust to kick 50-plus yard field goals. The Giants punted from the 41 and the 42-yard line, or maybe it was the 42 and 43. But it would have been a 56, 57-yard field goal in Denver where the ball is supposed to fly and they're punting. And then one of them was a touchback, so they gained 20 yards of field position. I'm trying to pull up my tweet here where I said, it's easy to blame Micotomney, and rightfully so, but also have to blame the defense, which we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, obviously 2 missed extra points, inexcusable. He should be cut today. I don't know why he hasn't been cut yet. Go with Younghoe Koo for next week. But it's just insane to me that we're still having this conversation about kickers. last year, after the Washington game where Gano got hurt, and he was hurt going into the week, they didn't do anything. He gets hurt on the kickoff. And we have to go through a whole game without a kicker. And then this year, a similar thing happens. Gano gets hurt in warmups, and then he can't kick, and then he does come out and kick, and it's like, this is a disaster. Could have cut this guy in the offseason, saved $3 million. He's old, he's bad, he's hurt. Like, makes no sense. He's an expensive kicker. The Giants are reworking all these contracts. They just restructured Holland's deal. They restructured Adebo's deal. They restructured Dexter Lawrence's contract. No, it was Brian Burns, excuse me. But, like, they're restructuring all these deals when they have this kicker that they could cut, save a few $1 million. It doesn't seem like a lot, but this team is struggling just to get through the season with cap space. And then you have an international pathway player who wasn't even the starting kicker in college. You don't trust him to kick 50-yarders. He's shanking extra points. You go for 2 because you don't trust your kicker. He doesn't get it. Then you kick extra points the rest of the game. Like, I do think kicking the extra point was the right decision. If you go for 2, up by 2, and don't get it, that looks worse on the coach. I think kicking it was the right decision, but, I'm not at practice, you're not at practice. Only media's at practice to see what truly goes on between Younghoe Koo and Jude McAtomney. But I find it hard to believe that Younghoe Koo looks this much worse. I mean, he's missed 3 extra points the last 2 weeks. He hasn't tried a field goal over 31 yards. They have 0 trust in him. He doesn't do kickoffs. Like, it just makes no sense to me. And just the whole way they've handled the situation where they don't bring in, they have 2 7th-rounders. They don't draft a kicker when they literally drafted Corey Black and then cut him, and now he's gone. So they wasted a 7th-round pick there. They don't sign a UDFA kicker. They don't bring in, Rodrigo Blankenship's a free agent. Dustin Hopkins is a free agent. Like, get a guy from the UFL. That's where Jake Bates came from. Like, just take the position seriously. Kicker is a really important position. A lot of games come down to kickers. And the Giants, they don't have one. They have some Irishman who's only on the team because he doesn't count against the roster, and he sucks. And, I hate blaming him like this because he shouldn't be in the spot. He really shouldn't. It would be like, Bobby Skinner said it best. It would be like a Sandro Platzgummer from a few years ago. The Giants, 5th-string running back, costing them a game. Like that, this is the equivalent of that. He should not have been in the spot. He should not have been the kicker at all. I'd imagine they'll go with Koo this week because I doubt Gano will be ready. Like, it's just so frustrating. And I said in the episode before the Commanders game, my first preview episode, that, every year it seems like special teams cost the Giants a game. Like, every year there's at least one game, and last year was the Washington game. And I think this year's game is this game. I know you can blame the defense, and we're going to get into the defense next, trust me. But at the end of the day, if they just make the extra points, they win this game. That's all it comes down to. Or at the very worst, force overtime. So that's my Jude McAtomney rant. I don't know what the deal is with the pathway thing. If, he needs to be on the practice squad or whatever. I don't really know. Sign some rugby dude for all I care and just get him off the team. I'd rather just not have McAtomney at practice and take reps because clearly our kickers need reps. And I've also heard that the Giants just don't kick in practice, which I don't really understand. I know when I went over the summer to the joint practice when they played the Jets, only McAtomney kicked. So Graham Gano, the starting kicker, didn't kick. He didn't kick much in preseason. Whatever. I'm ready to move on from this. Yeah, so let's get to the defense now. They shut the Broncos out for 3 quarters, and then they give up 33 in the 4th quarter. Just ridiculous. Shane Bowen's a bad defensive coordinator. I was hoping he turned a corner after the Philly game because he kind of went away from what he normally does. He's back to it. I mean, there's 10 minutes left in the game, and you're running this soft zone. You're starting safeties out. You're starting corners out. I understand that. He's in a tough spot. He has Deonte Banks out there. But, you're running the soft zone. I mean, Deonte Banks is 10, 15 yards off the wide receiver. And you're just giving them all this space. And, they just get into a rhythm. And, they score a touchdown. And the offense gets a 3-and-out. Next thing you know, you're still playing that soft zone. And the Broncos march down the field again and score another touchdown. The pass rush is the strength of this team. Get your 4 best pass rushers out there. Thibodeau, Carter, Burns, Dexter. Get them out there. Rush the passer. Bo Nix is a quarterback. He struggles under pressure. We saw that. He's also a guy, his passes get batted down all the time. The Giants batted down 5 passes yesterday against Bo Nix. Get pressure on him. He's only a second-year quarterback. He's not some experienced veteran. He struggles under pressure. Get after him a little bit. Help out your corners. I know the pass rush wasn't winning a ton, and they weren't getting a ton of sacks. Carter and Thibodeau struggle a little bit. But, this is the strength of your team. Lean into that. Stop, they, on the play with Sutton, they're late. They blitz 3 and they find Cortland Sutton wide open, finds a soft spot in the zone. And Deontay Banks, I don't know who they have on the roster. I know Art Green's on the roster. I think they have another corner. I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. But, he needs to be last guy off the bench in the secondary. He is just completely awful. He's worse. He's gotten worse. His best season was probably his rookie year. He has genuinely gotten worse. I don't understand. He has no ball skills. He has no clue when the ball is being thrown. His coverage skills really aren't bad. It's just he literally has probably, I don't know every team's corner, every team's situation. He's got to be bottom 3 ball skills in the entire NFL. It is bad. And then Drew Phillips, he also is getting targeted big time. He's such a hit or miss player. Some games he's locked down, clamped. And then the next game he's, having all these penalties. I think he gave up 85 yards yesterday in coverage. But, I noticed Deontay Banks more. And, of course, all the Broncos points happened when Deontay Banks came into the game. Is he, did he cause all those points? No. Paulson and Debo going down. Obviously, that's going to hurt. Obviously, it's going to hurt when your 2 big defensive free agent acquisitions both go down. But, this is year 4 of a regime at the end of the day. You should have depth, and the Giants don't have that, and at corner at all. Cordell Flott is a stud. I think he's a starting cornerback in this league. He's proved that. But the fact that the first rounder from a couple years ago is now unplayable. They have 2 first rounders, Evan Neal and Deontay Banks. 2 first round picks. 2 of Joe Shane's 3 first round picks are literally unplayable. Those guys cannot see the field. It is bad. I would trade Deontay Banks for anything at this point. I know his name's been floated around. I bet a team would trade for him just off the coverage skills, and maybe they can try and develop ball skills. I would swap 7th rounders in 2058 if it meant getting Deontay Banks off the team. I mentioned the pass rush. It was fine. Thibodeau and Carter weren't great. Brian Burns is a superstar. He really is. 9 sacks through 7 games. Tied for the league lead in the NFL. Passed Nick Bonito in this game. He's a stud. He's a superstar. I'm ready to say it. He was worth the 2nd rounder and the 5th rounder, worth the money. This guy, is one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. He really looked good yesterday. Trying to think what else with the defense. Shout out Dean Belton. He lit up Cortland Sutton on the goal line. That was a great play there. He did a good job stepping in for Javon Holland. Darius Muasau in a nice play. I haven't had much to say about the linebackers recently. They've been fine. Tyler Nubin still, missing some tackles. He got banged up a little bit. I think I pretty much hit on everything with the defense. Just embarrassing. Feels like this stuff only happens to the Giants. And I was just, I don't want to get super big picture. I was so ready to come out here and be I feel like we turned a corner, 3-4, going to Philly, if we, just the vibes would be so much different. I wouldn't be so negative and focusing on so many of the little, negative things that went wrong. But, it's just, Oh, it was devastating. I mean, I was completely devastated after this game. I didn't even know how to feel. This was worse than the Dallas game, and I didn't think it could get much worse than that. But let's go to the offense now. So start with Jackson Dart. Obviously, he's the big name. He looked great through the first 3 quarters. I mean, we got to remember, this is one of, if not the best defense in the NFL. They led the NFL in sacks by a wide margin coming into the week. They have one of the best corners in the league in Pat Surtain. I mean, this was genuinely one of the best defenses in the NFL. And Giants have a backup center. They have like nothing at outside wide receiver. I'm going to that a little bit. No Malik Neighbors, no Darius Slayton. And the Giants scored 3 touchdowns, and the offense looked pretty good. I mean, the run game was working. Tyron Tracy had a touchdown. Shout out to him. I was happy for him with that. Dart looked good in the passing game. But then the fourth quarter hits. And this was the first time that it looked like the moment was too big for Jackson Dart. And that's been something we've talked about, with his moxie and his confidence and that kind of thing. He melted down in the fourth quarter. He really did. That interception was it was terrible. I mean, there's no way around it. You could see what he was trying to do. Theo was open. It's just didn't put enough on it and didn't have high enough, and it just went right to the defender. That's a rookie play. I mean, I'm not really going to blame him too much for that. It's going to happen. You see veteran guys make plays like that from time to time. It's going to happen. We got a rookie quarterback, 4th career start against one of the best defenses in the NFL, 4th quarter, loud crowd, whatever. I'm not going to write it off because obviously that's not something you want to have happen, frequently. Like that should be something that happens, once a week. But it's going to happen. It's the first player. It's like, all right, Dart. What are we doing here? I mean, the interceptions against the Saints were bad, but at the same time, he was trying to make something happen. They were losing. This is a game where they're winning, and, you can't have that. And then that last drive where they did score a touchdown on the Dart rush. That was one of the ugliest drives I've ever seen. I don't know how the Giants ended up scoring a touchdown on that. And, he was just chucking the ball. I mean, he was just slinging it. He wasn't even looking. I mean, he threw it in the double coverage multiple times. He airmailed Jalen Hyatt, who was kind of open on that deep ball. Threw it into double coverage to Bo Collins. Should have been picked off. 2 guys collided into each other. One of the guys got hurt. And this is a situation, unfortunately, when the Broncos player got hurt, I was like, this is actually good. Because Brian Dable needs to go to Jackson Dart right now and just, speak some sense into him, because he was just all over the place. I mean, there were situations where he could have scrambled for 5-10 yards, gotten out of bounds. Instead, he's throwing it into double coverage to a UDFA who shouldn't be on the field and almost gets picked off. So, that's kind of something you saw a little bit at Ole Miss too. He kind of struggled in crunch time. Hopefully that's not something that happens. I'm sure he'll get better with experience. They still did score a touchdown, which, the 4th and 19, Wando got right to the sticks. I do think he got the first down. He was right there, though. The line was wrong on TV. But I do think that was a first down. And then there's that roughing the passer. I'm sorry, that was not roughing the passer. Giants got bailed out there. And then the DPI that was intended for Bo Collins, I thought that was even a little... if it was the Giants and they got called for that, I'd be fuming. The Sean Payton unsportsmanlike conduct, that was valid. I mean, you can't run on the field screaming at the ref. But I mean, he had a point. That was pretty soft, if I'm being honest. The classic underthrown deep ball draws DPI. But yeah, I mean, he got sloppy. But he's a rookie. This is 4th career start. Tough defense, tough environment. Hopefully we don't see that, too much in the future, the kind of melting down. Hopefully he can learn from that. And it was almost like he didn't understand how much time was on the clock, too. The Giants had a timeout and, over a minute left. He had time, but he'll learn from it. He's young. He'll be all right. I still think he's the guy. I mean, he's looked a lot better than I thought he was going to look through his first 4 starts. So I think that's also part of the reason why this loss, hurts that much more. The fact that the Giants only had one wide receiver that had a catch, and that was Wan'Dale Robinson. It was 0 for 0 for Humphrey, Hyatt, and Bo Collins. They got to bring somebody in. Like, I loved Lil Jordan Humphrey. I'm a Lil Jordan Humphrey enthusiast. It's a fun story, but, like, can't be wide receiver 1. Like, the joke's over. It was funny for the Eagles game, but, like, they got to bring someone in. Like, why has Isaiah Hodgins not been brought in yet? Like, I don't understand that. Who knows how long Darius Slayton will be out. Hopefully he's back this week. That would be big because that would get Jalen Hyatt or Bo Collins off the field, which would be nice. The both guys, they're in great shape. They do a lot of cardio. That much is, we can see that on the field because they don't do anything else. But it'd be nice to get them off the field and get someone actually somewhat productive. But yeah, it's tough to navigate that when the Giants have four options in the pass game. It was one of the tight ends, Bellinger or Theo, Wan'Dale Robinson, or Cam Skadden out of the backfield. That was it. There was just no outside presence at wide receiver at all. Yeah, so both tight ends had a solid game. The Theo Johnson drops are really getting old. That was frustrating. His stats look a lot better because he caught the Wan'Dale drop and ran it in for a touchdown. But Daniel Bellinger was really good. He's at least a guy that's going to catch everything and that kind of thing. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, he really stepped up. Thank God for Wan'Dale Robinson because the rest of this wide receiver room is just a complete and utter disaster. If anything happens to Wan'Dale Robinson, we are in trouble. So he stepped up. He did more than just catching the, little dump off passes. He, really created some plays. He had that tough drop, but thankfully it ended up being a touchdown with Theo. And then the last, piece of this is I want to talk about the offensive line. They played a great game. This Broncos team led the league in sacks by a mile. It was at least 9, I know, but they shut them down. They had a few sacks, most of which I thought were kind of created by Jackson Dart. Bobby Skinner did post the O-line stats, so I can read those off for you guys here. I'm trying to find it. It's from a little. Yep. So Andrew Thomas did 1 quarterback hit. John Runyon, perfect game. No pressures. Austin Schlottman only had 1 pressure. He's been solid, man. He really has. Not really sure what he's doing in the run game. I have to kind of look at that a little bit closer. But, I haven't heard his name at all, which is good. And then Greg Van Roten, 1 sack, 1 pressure. Jermaine Illuminor, 1 pressure. So, phenomenal job by this offensive line against a really tough opponent, especially with Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper. So that's going to transition us well into our studs and duds. My first 2 studs are the offensive tackles, Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor. They combined for 1 QB hit and 1 pressure against statistically the best edge rusher in the league coming into the game, Nick Bonito. But he's not. He lined up more on the right tackle side than he had all season combined. He was clearly scared of Andrew Thomas. He can't back up his trash talk. I really, really wanted the Giants to win just for that, but it sucks. But, the Giants have the franchise offensive tackle. We've known that. The fact some people wanted him traded is kind of crazy. Those guys don't grow on trees, and the Giants have one, and he is just he's the glue to the offensive line. He's the glue to the offense. The offense is just so much better when Andrew Thomas is on the field. He is clearly the most valuable player on the offense now that Malik Neighbors is hurt. And just seeing how Thomas has played, you really can make the argument that he is more valuable than Malik Neighbors. Because, the offense still put up 30 points the last 2 weeks with no Malik Neighbors. And they really struggled to do that with no Andrew Thomas. So he just makes this team so much better. And then Jermaine Illuminor is like the unsung hero, I feel like. He does have, some minor penalty things, he had a false start, but in pass protection, he's just great. Really shut down Benito and Jonathan Cooper. They didn't do much. As I said earlier, he's a free agent after the season. It's gonna be interesting to see if the Giants want to pay him. Maybe they trust Marcus Bowe. Might want to bring in someone else. Fortunately, James Hudson's hogging up that money. Bet you forgot about him. He's still there. Just a healthy scratch. My next stud is Wan'Dale Robinson, just because he stepped up with, the receiver injuries. He was 6 for 95, made a lot of nice plays. I feel like he deserved it. Brian Burns, again, the 2 sacks. He's a game changer, really, on that defensive line. I was going to do one more. I'm just going to do an honorable mention to Daniel Bellinger. I don't think this game is worthy of having more studs than duds. So the studs, Andrew Thomas, Drayton Luminor, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Brian Burns. And now for the duds. Jude McAtomney. I mean, this is obvious. 2 for 4 on extra points. As I mentioned earlier, he makes the extra points. The Giants win the game. That's kind of what it comes down to. It's obviously not all on him. The defense has to be better. The Jackson's interception hurts. But at the end of the day, you have one job. And it's really a chip shot field goal. I mean, a 32-yarder or 33, whatever. Like, 3 misses in 2 weeks. The guy's just not an NFL-level kicker. He's just not. It sucks. It really sucks. He shouldn't have been in that position. I blame Joe Shane, for that mismanagement. This is just stuff that you got to remember at the end of the season, if they make it, why these guys need to be fired. Like, they still need to be fired. Brian Daboll is not the only coach that can coach Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart's talented. There's other offensive minds out there that can coach him. I going on a tangent, but I'll get into that in a little bit. The next duds, Deonte Banks and Drew Phillips. They both just melted down in the secondary. They're late. I saw Deonte Banks on the field. I was standing up for that last drive, and I was like, they're just going to target Deonte Banks. They got Courtland Sutton on Deonte Banks every time. And it worked out for him, clearly. And then Shane Bowen, he has to be the last one. He's just terrible. Should have been fired after last year. Wasn't, because the Giants knew they weren't going to get anyone good to come in and replace him, because who wants to come in and be the defensive coordinator on a team with a scorching hot seat for the head coach and GM? He'd be the 3rd defensive coordinator in 3 years. It just was not a good situation to be in. And he doesn't adjust. I really think the Philly game was an outlier. Just the soft coverage just is so annoying. It's bad. So yeah, McAtomney, Banks, Phillips, and Bowen are the duds. Jumping to this week in history, here's my only Yankees, part of the podcast, and it's not a good one. So on October 14th, 2024, the New York Yankees clinched a spot in the World Series. So, we're at home this year. Going to be watching the World Series from the couch. Last year, the Yankees were in the World Series. I saw the Juan Soto home run clip. I saw Snapchat memory when he hit the home run. Good times. Just good times. Sucks he couldn't get back there this year. Sucks Juan Soto's not on the team anymore. It really does. I mean, Yankees fans, don't hide it. We wish Juan Soto was still on the roster. I mean, obviously, wouldn't have gotten Max Fried, wouldn't have gotten Cody Bellinger, but, Juan Soto's one of the best hitters of the generation. So, yeah. All right. For the Giants, on October 14th, 1962, the Giants lost 20-17 to the Pittsburgh Steelers at Yankee Stadium. So I thought that was interesting. Y.A. Tittle, your mom's favorite quarterback, I don't know why I said that, threw for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it says, the game is a reminder of the 60s Giants transition era prior to their resurgence later in the decade. So now we're going to go to looking forwards. The Giants now go into Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. We know everything about the Eagles. We played them 2 weeks ago. I don't have to give a huge, kind of preview here. Saquon Barkley hasn't been great the last couple of weeks. You know he's going to want to get back on track this week. He had 18 carries last week for 44 yards. He just doesn't look like the same Saquon this year. But you know, against the Giants, he struggled last week. You just know he wants to get back on track this week. Two guys that did get back on track last week are Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Smith went 9 for 183 and a touchdown. A.J. Brown had 4 for 121 and 2 touchdowns. I am really worried if even one of Javon Holland or Paulson Adebo can't go, especially Paulson Adebo. They need him. Deontay Banks can't be on the field. I don't care who it has to be. Phillips, Flott, Art Green, whoever they have left on the roster, calls someone up from the practice squad. I don't really care. Deontay Banks can't be on the field. He's going to get absolutely torched. Jalen Hurts had a perfect passer rating this past week. It's going to be a really tough game. There's no way around it. I know the Giants beat Philly, but they're going to want to win. They're going to want this game big time after what happened on Thursday night. The Giants have not won in Philly since October 27th, 2013. So it will be, on the date of the game, almost 13 years. Giants play a game in Philly every year. It'll be almost 13 years since the Giants last won in Philadelphia. So just bad stuff. Would it be 12? I don't know. The Giants are breaking me, as you can tell. The Giants are absolutely breaking me. You just know that 2013 was the last time the Giants won in Philadelphia. So I don't remember it. I've never seen the Giants win in Philly. Saw them get blown out in the playoffs, though. They beat them 15-7 on the road. So my only real note from this, Giants need to continue to start off hot. That's something that has been a huge change with Jackson Dart. You don't want to fall behind against this Philly team. You really don't. I kind of worry about where the headspace of the team is at after a loss like this. But this is where you gotta look for the coach, Brian Daboll. Got to see what he's made of. Got to see what the team is made of against this tough matchup. Hopefully Darius Slayton is back. Not holding my breath though. We'll see about the hamstring. Younghoe Koo better be the kicker. Mikatami should be cut. We'll see what they do there though. I was trying to think of anything else. Hopefully the pass rush can get home, disrupt Jalen Hurts a little bit. I'd imagine they'll have a similar game plan, with the zone coverage on defense. But again, it's kind of tough to preview a game, especially after such a tough loss that we saw yesterday. Look up the spread for the game. It is currently sitting at Eagles -7. Not super surprised by that. So I think that's going to be all for this episode. It sucks, just the vibes of the episode being down like this. I was preparing for such an upbeat episode and be so excited. The Giants won, but if I learn anything, it's just you can't don't celebrate too early with this team. You never know at this point. They choked the Saints game. They choked the Dallas game. They choked this game. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. Back to the regular Monday episodes. So the next episode will be next Monday. I promise you I will get into Yankees stuff next Monday. I'm thinking I'm going to split it up a little bit. I'll probably do hitters next episode, then maybe I'll do pitchers the next episode. So subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. I will see you guys next Monday. Let's go Giants and Yankees.